The Cane Corso, Italy's legendary guardian mastiff, was never what we thought it was. For decades, breeders, historians, and dog enthusiasts told the same story. This powerful Italian mastiff descended in a straight, unbroken line from the war dogs of ancient Rome, who themselves traced back to a single mythical ancestor known as the Molosser. Then geneticists at the National Institutes of Health ran the DNA, and that entire origin story collapsed. Here's what everyone believed. The traditional narrative goes something like this. Around 350 BC, the Greek philosopher Aristotle mentioned a group of powerful dogs from the ancient Greek state of Epirus, located in what is now Albania. These were the Molossers, supposedly massive war dogs bred for combat and guarding. When Rome conquered Greece in 146 BC, those dogs were folded into the legions. The Romans called them canis pugnaces, and they became instruments of war. Many served as periphery, dogs sent charging across enemy lines with buckets of flaming oil strapped to their backs, running beneath cavalry horses, igniting chaos, throwing riders from their mounts. After Rome fell in 476 AD, these war dogs transitioned to civilian life across the Italian countryside, and from them, supposedly, came the Cane Corso and its heavier cousin, the Neapolitan Mastiff. It's a dramatic story. It's also largely a myth. Geneticists analyzed thousands of canine genomes and found something that cut straight through the central premise of Molosser history. There was no single ancestral Molosser from which all large guardian breeds descended. Giant dogs of this type evolved spontaneously and independently in multiple parts of the world. The study showed virtually no genetic sharing between European Mastiff breeds and the Tibetan Mastiff, demolishing the popular claim that the Tibetan Mastiff was the grandfather of all Molossers. When you map the genetic components, European Molossers and the Tibetan Mastiff occupy completely separate branches, with no overlap and no shared ancestry in any recent time frame. And it gets more interesting. There's serious debate about what the original Molossers actually looked like. The most widely accepted belief is that they resembled modern mastiffs, but at least one historian has argued they may have more closely resembled a Saluki or a greyhound. Ancient records simply can't settle this question, which means the image most people carry in their minds of that giant heavy-boned war dog may itself be a projection of modern breeds backward into history. None of this means the Cane Corso lacks ancient roots, because it has them. The name first appears around 1100 AD. Cane is Italian for dog, and Corso likely derives from the Latin cohors, meaning guardian or protector. Across southern Italy, these dogs filled practical roles for centuries. In some regions, they were called the straw-stack dog, the cane de pagliaio, used to guard straw bales and livestock. Fawn-colored dogs were preferred for that work because their coats provided camouflage against wheat and straw. Others served as goat herd dogs, swine herd dogs, butcher's dogs used to drive cattle to market, or simply hunt dogs. By the mid-20th century, though, the breed was vanishing. Mechanized farming, urbanization, and the devastation of two world wars nearly erased the Cane Corso entirely. The revival begins in 1973, when Dr. Paolo Breber, a biologist, received a communication from Professor Giovanni Bonatti, reporting the existence of a short-haired molossoid, distinct from the Neapolitan Mastiff, still surviving in rural southern Italy. A few years later, a traveling salesman named Vito Indiveri, who came from a family of carters and horse merchants, stumbled upon these same dogs on a farm. As he later recalled, "The first time I rediscovered them was on a farm back in 77 or 78. I recognized them and was surprised. They were really them, my grandfather's dogs." From there, a dedicated group worked to save the breed. The Società Amatori Cane Corso, known as the SACC, Formed in 1983, and Dr. Antonio Morciani, the breed's principal architect, spent over 7 years developing the breed standard, selecting a dog named Basir as the prototype specimen, the physical template against which all future Cane Corsos would be measured. The Italian National Kennel Club, or ENCI, approved the standard in 1987 and officially recognized the Cane Corso in 1994. International recognition. Through the FCI followed in 1996, with full recognition in 2007, and the AKC came last in 2010. But here's the part many breed purists would rather not discuss. The modern Cane Corso was rebuilt from varied foundation stock, and not all of it came from the same places. Some dogs came from isolated rural farms where genuine old working lines had survived. Others came from sources closer to cities, including fighting bloodlines. As one historian put it plainly, regardless of the romantic interpretations, the modern incarnation was established on foundation stock that included both ancient farm workers and examples whose origin is neither ancient nor pure. That matters, because DNA doesn't lie, but breed narratives often do. And DNA has revealed something far more fascinating than any origin myth. In 2017, researcher Evgen Korex published a landmark study in the Open Veterinary Journal analyzing 232 Cane Corsos from 25 countries, and the results contained a genuine bombshell. Coat color directly correlated with lifespan. Black brindle dogs lived the longest, with a median lifespan of 10.3 years. Brindle dogs followed at 10.1 years, gray brindle came in at 9.8 years, and black, fawn, and gray dogs averaged 9.0 years. Dogs of other colors lived just 8.1 years on average, a difference of more than 2 years, roughly a 27% lifespan gap between the longest and shortest lived color groups. This stood among the first evidence in any mammal species linking coat color genetics directly to longevity. If that blew your mind a little, hit subscribe. This channel digs into breed myths and what the DNA actually says, and there's more coming. Korex's team continued that work, and by 2022 they had identified 4 specific genes associated with exceptional lifespan in the breed: TDRP, MC2R, FBXO25, and FBXL21. They defined long-lived dogs as those reaching 12 years or older, an age that fewer than 7% of Cane Corsos ever reach. Other genetic research has been equally revealing. A 2019 study on coat color inheritance found evidence suggesting that at least one responsible gene sits on a sex chromosome, a finding with real implications for breeding programs. Health screening data tells a sobering story alongside that. Dilated cardiomyopathy affects roughly 10 to 15% of the breed. Hip dysplasia impacts a significant portion of the population. Data from the Orthopedic Foundation for Animals shows the breed consistently ranking among those with elevated hip dysplasia prevalence, and around 23% show at least one eye abnormality. The Dog 10K Consortium, an international project sequencing thousands of canine genomes and published in Genome Biology, has identified a large region on chromosome 26, showing selection signatures specific to the Mastiff group, a 7.5 megabase stretch with notably reduced genetic diversity. Research at the University of Missouri is currently working to isolate the genes responsible for epilepsy in the breed. Bloat, clinically known as gastric dilatation volvulus, or GDV, also ranks among the most serious health threats facing this deep-chested breed, a risk serious enough that many owners and veterinarians consider preventive surgical intervention. Today, the Cane Corso faces a different kind of threat than extinction. Strong economic interests have pushed some breeders toward hypertype, producing dogs that are more extreme in appearance but further from the athletic, functional animal the breed was built to be. The divide between American-type Cane Corsos, often heavier, more exaggerated in structure, and the traditional Italian working type, recognized by the FC, has become a genuine fault line within the breed community, one that registries and serious breeders are increasingly being forced to address. As one critic noted, the obsession with style over substance has bled through the circles of enthusiasts responsible for the progeny of the breed. So what is the Cane Corso really? It's not the direct descendant of a single ancient Molosser. It's not the unchanged Roman war dog that popular videos love to claim. It's a breed that nearly disappeared, was pieced back together from diverse and sometimes questionable stock, received official recognition only 30 years ago, and is now teaching us things about the genetics of aging that no one anticipated. The DNA didn't diminish this breed. It made the real story far more interesting than the myth ever was.